Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and today we are going to work on the double kettlebell clean and press. This is the exercise if you really want to develop a truly Herculean physique, absolutely anywhere, barn, field, forest, back of a truck, workshop, anywhere. This is the one that builds the most muscle in the least amount of time. The double kettlebell clean and press sits on top of a bunch of other training you should probably do first in order to do it the best you possibly could. People tend to start out with two-hand single kettlebell swing. They go to hand-to-hand kettlebell swing. They go to start-stop kettlebell, two-handed swing, start-stop alternating kettlebell swing. Then they build up to single-arm kettlebell clean and then single-arm kettlebell press. Most people will benefit highly from running a program with that for 3 to 5 years, starting with a lightweight, building up to a heavyweight. Gentlemen are targeting 32K, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 reverse ladders for at least 5 sets. That is the goal. When you get to that, you can probably go to double kettlebell. The ladies, depending on frame size, might be targeting 12K to maybe 20K, but you can see ladies doing that all the way up to 24K, depending on frame size. That's highly variable. With our double kettlebell clean and press, we need to know the double kettlebell swing first, the double kettlebell clean, and then once we get to shoulder height and we're happy with how our hands are lining up in the rack position or catching the weight at shoulder height, then we add the press. There are a couple of versions of this exercise. We're going to talk about the classic strength training version, and we'll talk about sport style versions in other videos. The classic style is the easiest for people to learn and they get the most benefit in the least amount of time. When setting up for our double kettlebell clean and press, step up to 2 bells. This is how wide your feet need to be. It is slightly wider than it would be for single kettlebell. Single kettlebell, you tend to have your feet directly underneath your shoulders and just about 8-9 inches between your knees because a kettlebell is about 8-9 inches depending on what company you get it from. When you are working with single kettlebells, you are working on improving your normal standing posture. So we don't need to deviate, turn out our feet, do a bunch of other weird stuff. With double kettlebells, your feet are slightly wider. You have 2 kettlebells, 8 inches apart, means that we need about 16 inches plus a little bit extra for safety between your knees at the bottom. Depending on how tall you are, that changes what it looks like. We are back from our kettlebell, 12 to 18 inches. Thumbs point towards the sky, thumbs point down. Shoulder drives away from the ear and engage the lat. If the lat is not on when you start this exercise, drive your shoulder down, turn the lat on. At the top, squeeze your glutes, rib cage down. Thumbs turn down, engage the lats. Get down, grab the corner of the kettlebell, the L of the kettlebell. It is not a barbell grip, it is a kettlebell grip. Grab it in the corner, fire your lats, lean back, head up, chest up, tailbone down, push the weights back, snap up, rack position. Your rack position is important. Your wrists need to be flat, elbows close together. If you're doing barbells or you're setting the kettlebells up on your shoulder, you could be doing it better. Kettlebells together, squeeze your glutes on the press. Open, press. Let the kettlebell sit back behind you. On the way down, bring your hands together. You'll hear the corner of the kettlebell handles touch. On the clean, thumbs point back, lats on. Handles touch. Open press, bring it down, handles touch. Press, bring it down. Press, bring it down. When you set the weights down, push the weights back. Track them back out in front, 12 to 18 inches. Set them all the way down. Double kettlebelling costs twice as much as single kettlebelling. For obvious reasons, you need twice as much of equipment. There's a bunch of interesting things about the math of kettlebelling. Common weights for men are 16, 24, and 32K. Those weights are in the ranges of weight that people have carried for all of human history. If you look at it in a military context, 1,000 rounds of 5.56 or 1,000 rounds of 9mm is in the 35-pound range. If you are looking at it in the context of farming, a bag of grain weighs 50 pounds or 24K. If you're looking at it in a context of wearing armor, from the Romans to armored soldiers in Britannia, to armor in Italy in the Renaissance, you're looking in the range of 50 to 70 pounds. Learning to not put down 35 to 70 pounds for 10, 20, or 30 minutes tends to make people very resilient in the real world. When you go to double kettlebells, you make those weights 50% of what you can do for time. Granted, it's a lot different than that. Double kettlebells are truly an awful, mind-numbing, horrific experience if you do them for any length of time. When you do single kettlebells, you can learn to pick a weight up, but you can change hands in order to survive longer. With double kettlebells, you don't get to put the weights down. It's really pretty horrible. 235s equals 70. 224s is 106 pounds. Double 32s puts you at 140 pounds. The interesting thing about that, if you do double 32s, it makes 32 your 50% weight forever. It means that 32 becomes lighter forever. Working with single kettlebell and double kettlebell variants for your fundamental movements tends to make people very resilient in a short period of time. Errors that people make when doing double kettlebells, probably 4 things. Kettlebells tracking below the line of the knee, not staying close to the hip, not pausing in rack position on the way up and the way down to emphasize your standing structure, not locking out the elbows overhead, and not letting the kettlebells drift back behind you. When you do it right, the kettlebells are close to your body, close to your center line, close to your body. When you do it wrong, the elbows are down by the knees and the kettlebells are too low to the ground. Close to the body means your forearm impacts high up on the inside of your leg with both arms. That means that you are loading your hips. If your forearm is down at the height of your knee, the kettlebells are low, you are loading less of your hips and more of your lower back. The goal of all training is to not get hurt. That means load your hips, not your lower back. If you get hurt, you cannot train tomorrow. You get further from your goals, not closer to your goals. The next thing that goes wrong, people try to skip the pause in the rack position because they're not good at rack position. Your forearms should be vertical, elbows close together. Bring the weights in front of you. Get your fingers out of the way for the catch. Don't bend your elbows. Don't rest them on your shoulders. You'll see this a lot in CrossFit. Avoid that. Just get stronger. Focus on standing straight up here. You can make the pauses in the rack position as long as you want, but make them at least 1/1000 long. On the press, people will not lock out their elbows. Lock up and allow the kettlebells to drift back behind you so that your arms are straight. Bring it down, pause. The bent elbows tends to come from people not having shoulder mobility, and not letting your arms track back tends to mean people are lacking mobility in their chest. Stretch your chest both before and after this exercise. With barbells, people's hands are wider and they can change how they do it. With kettlebells, there's kind of no way out. You either get the mobility from doing it or not. The important part on the press is that your body is like iron. When you're in your rack, your glutes are tight. As you do the press and you press your chest forward, your glutes stay on the entire time. Some people will try to get it by letting their glutes go and rounding their back to press their chest forward. There are some sport techniques that do that. That is for advanced athletes. For the most part, 99% of the population will benefit from keeping their glutes engaged the entire time. If you do not practice double kettlebell clean and press, you absolutely should. Double kettlebell clean and press does not require all the equipment that barbelling does. It is cheap, it is affordable, it can go in the back of your truck, and you can do it almost anywhere. The most important part of training is that you understand what you need to do, why you need to do it, and that you can do it in the greatest number of locations so that you are able to comply with your own program. If you don't do training, it doesn't matter how sexy your training ideas are, they have to be something that you can do every day.